Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a movie about the Turtles. It's an animated movie, sort of a origin story, and it takes place when they're maybe a little younger, maybe a little more teenage than they have been in some of the other adaptations that I've seen. Yeah, in the movie, basically they deal with a threat to the city, Superfly. So as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I liked the cast. Jackie Chan as Shredder was a definite standout for me. And I really liked Ice Cube as Superfly. I was really impressed with him to the point where I heard it, I'm like, oh, it's Ice Cube. And then I'm like, no, that can't be Ice Cube. He was like really, really good. I don't know how much voice acting he's done in the past, but I was really impressed. I liked Ayo Edebiri as April O'Neil. I like her on the Bear, so it was good to see her on this as well. It's a great show. Post Malone shows up quickly as one of the characters, Manta Ray. We got John Cena and Seth Rogen as Bebop and Rocksteady. They were great, and I really liked Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko as well. As far as the Turtles go, this is, as far as I know, the first time that they've actually had teenagers play the Turtles. I think Corey Feldman was 19 when he did the voice in the first one. But other than that, they've usually been adults. Yeah, these are all teenagers, and I think they all did a good job. Micah Abbey as Donatello, Shamon Brown Jr. as Michelangelo, Nicolas Cantu as Leonardo, and Brady Noon as Raphael. I think Nicolas Cantu stuck out to me maybe the most as just the one when I heard his voice was the good leader voice, kind of what I imagined with Leonardo. I also like Donatello a lot and Raphael. Michelangelo took me a little while to come around to, but I did enjoy his performance. I really liked overall the way that the kids interacted with each other and the rapport that they had and the kind of way that they talked over each other and made fun of each other and gave each other a hard time. It felt very much like teenagers and like brothers would do. I really like the animation style on this. A lot of people have compared it to Into the Spider-Verse, and I guess it's similar. It's definitely similar, but I think it's also its own kind of style. It's very much, I think they were emulating sort of the style of like a high school student and the way that they would draw a teenager. And it reminded me a bit of some of I meant to look up the artist name and I didn't, but there's an artist who did a bunch of books in the 90s, like The True Story of the Three Little Pigs and that kind of stuff. It reminded me a little bit of his style, where it's kind of ugly, or like Gabor Supo, some of the early 90s stuff with like the Rugrats and that kind of stuff. But either way, cool style. I really liked it. It was kind of sketchy and kind of bad looking, but in a really interesting and entertaining way. I really liked the baby turtles in this. They do a flashback where they show them as babies. They're just cute little babies. I don't know, baby animals are always cute. I always like that. I like the characterization in this. I think they've been doing this for a long time with the Turtles, but when they first started out, they all wore red masks and, weren't really differentiated. The cartoon kind of, gave them the different colored masks. And then since then, they've kind of done more, where Raphael's kind of gotten bigger, I think, and Donatello's gotten smaller, and they've given him glasses sometimes. And this one of them, Raph or Mikey, I think has braces. So they did a lot of different ways to kind of differentiate them and make them different. Whereas like, in the cartoon, they were all just kind of like surfer dudes. And in the comics, they were all just kind of Daredevil type dudes. So yeah, I like that they kind of took the time to give each character their own kind of unique personality. And that's been going on for a while, but I think this was the culmination of that. And I enjoyed it. I like the music in this. The soundtrack was done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They've done a bunch of stuff together. The first thing that I remember was the Social Network, and I think they won the Oscar for that. They've done some other stuff as well that I can't remember offhand, but I like their style. It's the kind that I would almost think I wouldn't like, because it's similar to like the Hans Zimmer kind of weird noisy stuff, but for whatever reason it works when they do it. I also like the soundtrack in this one. They had a lot of cool old school hip hop songs in there, like No Diggity, Shimmy Shimmy Ya, Can I Kick It? They even had Ninja Rap from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 in there, so that was cool. What's Going On features prominently in the movie. Paul Rudd does a version of it. It's pretty good. And they even threw in Push It to the Limit for like the montage of the training scene. So yeah, good songs. I like, mostly older stuff, but I like older stuff. So that's why I liked it, I guess. I thought there was some cool sound design in this as well. Things where, you kind of hear cool noises and stuff kind of bouncing around and stuff they did with that. I enjoyed. And the overall story I thought was good. As soon as kind of Splinter starts out saying that you can't trust humans and explains why he doesn't want to trust them, it's a kid's movie. Of course, you realize he's going to learn his lesson, and he does. In the end, he realizes you can trust humans, and they even have the human come up and help them, when they're trying to fight Superfly down in Times Square or whatever. Yeah, great. It was a great little message for kids about acceptance and about, kind of doing the right thing, even if you may not be recognized for it, and about treating people, with kindness, regardless of what they look like. All good messages, all good stuff for a kids movie. And I did like at the end, because the entire time I'm watching the movie, I couldn't figure out who Mondo Gecko was. I thought maybe like what's his name, Andy Samberg or somebody like that. I couldn't figure it out. And then finally at the end they say introducing Paul Rudd, and I'm like, okay. And of course this is introducing the guy's been working for 30 plus years, but yeah, it's pretty funny. So I liked him a lot in this, and I liked his character. He's probably my favorite character was Mondo Gecko, because he was kind of like the old school Ninja Turtles, like the surfer dude, yeah. As far as what I disliked about the movie, I didn't love the bad guy, not Superfly. He was great. And I love the way another thing about Superfly, he would always quote songs. So he said he quoted Backstabbers at one point, or he's like, "Smile to your face the whole time I want to take your place." I had Backstabbers stuck in my head for like 3 days because of that. He did it with a couple other songs too. That was cool. But I didn't love the other villain, Cynthia Utrom, played by Maya Rudolph. I just, whatever. I think kind of she was weird looking, which it's part of the style, but I didn't love the character design. And I didn't love the voice she was doing either. It was just kind of like, all right, I'm not really sure what this is here. I didn't love that, and I didn't hate the character either. I just didn't love it. I wish there would have been some Shredder or Foot Clan in there. I was a little disappointed that I didn't get to see any Foot Clan fights. It did take a while to see some fights, which, I mean, they're starting out, so that's okay. But I wanted to see some good Ninja Turtles fighting Foot Clan kind of stuff. There's a little too much exposition in this. I think there's like 3 separate times where someone's like, "Well, let me tell you a story," and it's like, okay, I guess you got another story here. I think maybe the appropriateness for children, which, I mean, I'm not a child, I don't have kids, I don't care, but there's some stuff that, like, talking about the killing especially, then I'm like, this is supposed to be a kid's movie, right? Now granted, eventually the bad guys do come around and they don't want to kill people, and they say it, and nobody really does get killed, from what I remember, so that's cool. There's definitely some scary imagery too, like some transformation scenes and stuff, which I loved, and I'm sure kids probably won't care about. I liked it when I was a kid too, but I can see some parents being sensitive about that. There's some like butt and nipple jokes and stuff like that, and the whole milking joke, which maybe got a little overplayed. Again, nothing bad. The puking stuff, which doesn't really bother me. I'm sure kids love it. Actually, kids love puking, but it was like maybe a little too gross. Which again, I don't care, but I can see how maybe for some people it's like, all right, I didn't need to see that. They did make some changes, which always bothers me. Anytime they make changes, just initially, like I said, when I heard, oh, there's a new Turtles movie, cool. I like the way it looks. And I think it was for me hearing Michelangelo's voice being like, wait, he doesn't sound like a surfer dude. I don't understand. And if you think about it, he shouldn't sound like a surfer dude. They're in New York City. There's no reason he should sound like a California surfer. And that's just because the writers in the 80s lived in California and thought all kids talked like that, So yeah, but I think it's just a little bit of me, like, there was a couple lines, I think, even in the movie where he delivered him. The kid was fine. I forget his name, Shamon Brown Jr. I think he did a good job, and I actually liked his characterization, the way he played it. But there were a couple lines where I'm like, I feel like that line would have been funnier with a surfer dude accent. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. And they did change April O'Neil. They made her a black girl in this. Okay, fine. I like Ayo Edebiri. Like I said, I like her on the Bear. That's one of my favorite shows. But I guess I just didn't really see why you had to do that. I don't know. I feel like it happens a lot, and it seems to happen a lot with like red-haired girls, where they're like, oh, well, she's black now. It's like, okay, it's cool. Like, diversity is important, I guess, but like, I don't know. I guess I just don't like when they change characters' races or even just appearances. Like when they have someone who's supposed to be tall and make them short, or someone's supposed to have long hair or dark hair and they give them blonde hair. I'm like, no, that's not the way they're supposed to look. So maybe it's just me and it's something minor I should get over, but I'm just like, okay, I'm glad they kept her a reporter, because at first I'm like, is she not even a reporter? What the hell? Just make a new character. What are you doing? And I did like the character and I liked the performance. I guess I'm used to the red hair and the yellow jumpsuit and all that. And then, again, Jackie Chan's great. I was literally just watching a bunch of Jackie Chan movies before this. Wheels on Meals is great. But I feel like it's cool that they cast an Asian person, but like, shouldn't he be Japanese? Like they're Ninja Turtles. Ninjas are Japanese, not Chinese. And, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I just feel like for a long time in America, we kind of, in the Western world, we just kind of like considered everything Asian to be Chinese. And I'm like, well, there's differences. These are different cultures that have long histories together and complicated histories. And I don't know, if you're going to cast someone who is, of a different race and then has an accent. And I don't know. I mean, again, Jackie Chan was great, and I can't really imagine anyone else, but you could have also gone with like a Ken Watanabe or somebody, Gaddy Watanabe, any of the Watanabes. But that being said, Jackie Chan was great, and I actually do think he was really good. But he was in the Karate Kid movie too, where like I'm like, well, yeah, but you're Chinese, and I think in that movie they were doing kung fu, and they thought about calling it the Kung Fu Kid, but they were like, no, we got to go with the known IP, so we go with Karate Kid. But I don't know, just one of those things that irritates me when people confuse Chinese and Japanese culture or any Asian cultures together. Other than that, movie directed by Jeff Rowe, who has worked on Gravity Falls and The Mitchells versus the Machines. He was the co-director of that. It was co-directed by Kyler Spears, who was a storyboard artist on Mitchells versus the Machines. It was written by a bunch of people. It was written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, get credit, as well as Jeff Rowe, Dan Hernandez, and Benji Samit. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's too many people, but Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg probably first started out doing Superbad, the kids movie or the teen movie, with Jonah Hill. They also did the TV shows Preacher and The Boys. And there's also a story by Brendan O'Brien. There's also characters by Eastman and Laird. So a lot of people, a lot of hands in this one. One thing about this is all of the actors recorded their lines together, at least the core four turtles, and I think some of the villains and bad guys as well. And I think it helped. I think it showed that kind of helped them build that rapport and that kind of way of talking that felt very natural. And so some cartoons do that. Most, I think, have people record separately though. So I always like it when they do that. A lot of people are comparing this to Spider-Verse because it does look somewhat similar to Spider-Verse. That being said, I don't know. Other than the art style being somewhat similar, I don't see it being that close. And I'm like the one person who didn't like Spider-Verse, so I thought it was okay, not great. And so I actually like this a lot more, probably mostly because the songs in this are older and not like contemporary songs. I just really don't like the music and the songs in the Spider-Verse movies very much. And then something like Mario too, which is the biggest kids movie of the year, which also used kind of older songs. But in Mario, they just kind of used random songs that just didn't really fit or have anything to do with it. Whereas in this, the songs actually fit and they went along with the movie and they made a lot of sense. So I did really appreciate that. I think this is a much better movie than Mario. I think Mario's going to make more money, but this is definitely a better movie. And speaking of which, some people say this is the best Turtles film. And I mean, my nostalgia makes me really like the first one from 1990 or 91. But, I have to say this is a really good movie. It's got a good message. It's funny. It's well acted. It's well told. It might be the best one, honestly. It had a $70 million budget, and it made $43 million opening weekend, which is more than expected. I think they were expecting more like around 30 million. So did pretty well. It hasn't really opened worldwide too much, but I think it's 51 million worldwide. So it's a little bit. There's a mid-credit scene, a post-credit scene in this movie with Shredder, which is cool. I expected that, and good. I can't wait to see Shredder in the next one, Foot Clan, all that stuff. That's what I'm looking for. And they've already greenlit a sequel and a 2-series TV show on Paramount Plus. So we're going to be getting more Turtles for the next couple of years. So good for them, I think. But as far as my score on this movie, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was great. Oh, I forgot to look up the Rotten Tomatoes on this. Either way, it's good. I remember it being very good. But I think my score on this one, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it, not just for a kids movie, but for a movie overall for me to enjoy. So, But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.